Hey everyone, welcome to the next tutorial. In this one, we're actually going to be building a keylogger. This is going to be a pretty quick video because it's actually really fast to make this. One thing you're going to want to do though, I don't understand Windows Defender completely because sometimes when I work on a keylogger, it'll automatically erase your .py file, like it says, hey, we found this is malicious, but other times it won't erase it at all. I've been messing around with it for a while now, and I'm not sure why sometimes it'll remove it, sometimes it won't. I put it on the VM earlier, and that Windows Defender's not detecting it at all. But what I did was, if you just go into Windows Defender and make an exclusion, you can go and open Windows Defender from the little system tray here, click manage settings and scroll down and add an exclusion. I just add an exclusion to my PyCharm projects folder, so wherever you're working on this file at, just add an exclusion and it'll prevent Windows Defender from erasing it, because it will detect it as a keylogger. Maybe, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. But anyway, in a future video, once we make this, I'll actually show you how when they execute the program or the malware we're going to write will actually disable. Well, it won't disable Defender, but it'll get around Defender to throw the keylogger on the machine. But that's in a future video. In this one, we're just going to kind of show you how to write the keylogger. So we're going to be using a module called pynput, and it's spelt like that. So let's go ahead and do pip install on that. Another thing I'm going to want you to do, don't just do pip install pynput. We want a specific version. We want 1.6.8. And the reason this is this is one of those weird instances where when I try and do the autopy to exe, the program won't work. But for some reason it works with 1.6.8. If you guys know how to get it to work with whatever the current version of pynput is, that'd be awesome if you could tell me in the comments. But it does work with 1.6.8, just not the newest version. So there we go. We got it imported. The next thing we're going to do is we need to do with listener. And I got my notes here because I don't use this module that often, but I wrote some notes here on how to get this working. So with listener, there's a listener object, and I don't know how this works under the hood. I just read their documentation on how to get it to work. But essentially this thing's kind of working like a thread, like you learned from the last tutorial. It's going to sit there and do its .join method. You'll see in a second. But you want to do with listener. It takes an argument called onPress, and onPress is when we press a key, what function do we want it to run? And we're just going to make a function called onPress, and then we want to call this listener. And then just do listener.join. And actually at the top here, we need to do from pynput.keyboard import listener. There we go. And then the next thing we're going to do is write that onPress function. So def onPress, and it takes one argument, and that's a key. And you might be saying, well, where's the key argument somewhere in here? Don't worry about that. This is just kind of like what they wrote in their documentation on how to get this to work. So again, I don't know how it works under the hood, and that's not important. All that's important is you know how to read their documentation and get it to work. So as soon as we press a key, it's going to pass the key into this onPress function. And what do we want to do with that key? Well, since we're doing a keylogger, let's do with open. We'll make a log.txt file and put it in append mode. And we'll do as f and just do file.write. f.write. And we want to write the key. This is pretty much it. Again, the only issue you're going to have is turning that or putting an exclusion in Windows Defender. But we'll go ahead and run this. Run main. Now it's running right now, and it's sitting on this listener.join method, so it's never going to move past that. And we can just sit here and oh, you know what I did wrong? I was like, why did I get an error? This key is like a key object. We need to get the string representation of it. So string key. So we need to turn that key object into its string representation. So now run it, and if we open like Notepad or something and just start typing, I'll just hit a bunch of random keys, backspaces, enters. Go ahead and close out of that and stop the program. You'll notice it made this log.txt file over here. And we can open that. And here's all the stuff I just typed in. I don't know what key.command is. I think that's because I hit the Windows key, so it's called key.command. And I typed in Notepad to launch it. I pressed enter, and here's all the gibberish I typed in after that. Let's kind of clean this up a bit. Let's do... let's add some... Let's make it like have new line characters at the end, just to make it a little easier to read. So, Notepad, hello world, put some backspaces, put world again, and go ahead and close out of that. Stop. And yeah, now it's a little bit easier to read. So I hit the command key, type Notepad, hello world, there's all the backspaces. I don't know what I pressed for this X18. I think I pressed control or something. Some of the keys, like the keys on the numpad, will generate like like it'll have brackets with numbers in it. You can just look up like I guess the ASCII value. It's generating the ASCII value of that numpad key. You can just look it up and find out what it represents. But yeah, it's pretty easy to make a keylogger. The hard part's going to be getting it over to the VM in a sneaky way without it erasing it, because Defender will detect it and erase it, and I have a way to get around that. So later on we will use our socket module to kind of have the user, they'll execute some code and it'll transfer this over to their machine, and they won't know anything about it. And we'll also get it to start up every time they reboot the machine too, so it's always on. But look forward to that and a few more tutorials down the road, and I hope you found this one interesting. Have a good day.